Okay, this video picks up on Sketching Basics 2, which is where the last video left off. I don't like that this is not fully in the window, so I'm going to double click my middle mouse button, which is something I don't think you've learned about yet. So double click that and you'll see that it'll zoom completely for you. So what we're going to do is edit this sketch. To be able to edit a sketch, you actually have to come in here and double click on the sketch icon. Do not start a new sketch. You have to edit the existing sketch. So if I double click on this, now it has this sketch, and you know that you're in this sketch because you can pick on certain lines. If you can't hover over a line and it turns white, then you are not in a new sketch, or you are in a new sketch and you aren't editing the existing one. Okay, so what I want you to do next is click on the line tool again, but this time we're going to change it to what's called a construction line right here. And this is like a helper line. It's not actually part of the sketch. I'm going to hover over until the cursor turns green and drag this over, and now I want this line to go to the midpoint of this angled line, and you know that you're at the midpoint when it turns green. So you can see I'm dragging along and all of a sudden it snaps green, so you know midpoint is one of those snap points, so I'm going to click that down. Okay, now I'm going to untoggle that construction line. You can see that this is a dashed line, which just basically means it's a helper line. The reason for that is I wanted to draw the next feature in the middle of this line, which finds the middle of the distance between these two features, and we're going to draw a hexagon. So to do that, you click this drop down right here and click the bottom one, polygon, and we'll say 6 sides because that's a hexagon. And now again, we want to find the middle, and you can see it's snapping to certain locations. This location that it's snapping to is directly below this intersection. That's not what we want though. We want the green midpoint of this line. So once you're on that, you can click that down, and now don't let it snap to anything here. Just find it and put it in what looks like a sort of a random orientation, and then click that down. And now I'm going to hit the escape tool so that all those little glyphs don't show up again. And now what we're going to do is we are going to dimension from here to here and click that down. And instead of putting in a metric number, I'm going to put in inches. So you can say 0.375 IN for inches. And even though this is a metric part, it will automatically convert those inches into millimeters. So now you'll see that this says the equivalent size in inch or in millimeters. If I double click on this, it still shows the inches, but it'll display in millimeters. So now I don't want this to be in a random orientation like I had said to do. So I want you to learn one more constraint up here, which is the parallel constraint. So parallel constraint does exactly what you would think. It makes 2 lines parallel. So now I have to click on 2 lines. So I'm going to click this line and tell it to be parallel with that. And you can see that now they rotate so that those 2 are parallel. And now you can see the sketch is fully constrained and everything is sketched in there. The last thing I want you to learn about in this video is a specific type of dimension. I'm going to click dimension here, and I'm going to dimension this line. Now, the sketch is already fully constrained, so we should never need to add a dimension at this point. So I'm going to click that, and you can see it's giving me a warning. It says, adding this dimension will over-constrain the sketch. Choose accept to create a driven dimension. So go ahead and hit accept. And you'll see that now this dimension is different from all the others in that it has parentheses around it. What the parentheses mean is that this number is dependent on all of these other numbers. So I can't edit this. If I double click on it, you'll see it's grayed out. That's because I can't change this because this number is being driven by all the other numbers that are already sized. So if I click on this one and change it, you'll see first of all that I'm allowed to. And so if I change this to 60, I want you to watch this number and see that it changes as well. Okay? So that's what a driven dimension does, is it's just driven by the others. Sometimes you add these if you want to know how big something is, even though you're not dictating the size of your sketch by that. So I'm going to change this back to 50. Okay, that's all I need you to do with this sketch. You can say finish sketch, and don't forget to save it to your G drive in Q1.